Game on! Infernal Shrines, map number 1 in a best of 3 series at Division 1 of HeroesLounge. We've been a little bit plagued today with a lot of technical difficulties and issues. Let's hope that this game is going to be the exception. Epikkk SFD, whatever that stands for, going up against Overpower on map number 1, Infernal Shrines. SFD searching for skill would be SFS. Searching for yeah, I don't know. Anything that they come up with would not be PG-13, so let's just drop that for the time being. Malganix as a first ban, and we also see Maiev being banned out. Now, that's been a little bit of the theme in general here at most of the HeroesLounge games that I've casted, that people just don't like Maiev. And I mean, don't get me wrong, coming from a Warcraft 3 background, having a Warden in the game against you, especially when you play ghouls, was always something where it's like, ugh, get that out of my way. But yeah, so we have Genji coming in as the second ban for Overpower. And yeah, let's see what we're gonna have for their opponents. We had some pretty fun strategies just in general, and this is the cool thing when you're looking at even the Division 1 games within HeroesLounge, that you have, of course, a lot more personal preference picks than you would see in a professional setup like HGC. RIP, always remember, 2017 to 2018, never forget. But yeah, there you have to, like, players are definitely homing in heavily on what the meta is, and in this environment here, a personal preference is oftentimes still prioritized over a pick that might be, from a meta perspective, a bit stronger. Diablo banned out, and instead the immediate first pick into Garrosh. So again, a bit of a battle for tanks, with Mal'Ganis banned out, Diablo banned out. Overpower didn't want to risk anything, and they said, okay, let's go straight onto a first pick on Garrosh here, make sure that we have a good tank for ourselves. We have Hanzo now coming in, and as the second pick, what's the combo for them? Hanzo Tyrande. Tyrande was heavily prioritized in previous games too, and you don't really have the combo with Diablo, but still, if you have Garrosh and you play that well and you have good coordination between the players, and having the Tyrande follow-up there is going to be pretty sick too. So instead, we're seeing it taken away with the Haka coming in on Infernal Shrines and Reyna. Not really too much focus on the Shrine phase and the objective just yet. Hanzo, of course, a high priority pick even in HGC before we had all of these changes come in. And talking changes, keep in mind, we are at the patch where you don't get the immediate XP boost when you take down structures, but you get the XP over time advantage over your opponent, and you have now even a catapult in each third wave spawning when you take down a fort. So very important to try and take the structures out as soon as you can. Alexstrasza definitely a good ban considering the map. So already from the get-go saying anything that delivers AoE, let's get rid of that. Make sure that they can't use Alexstrasza on Infernal Shrines. But in terms of the ban here, you could still target the frontline, to be honest with you, if you are Overpower. With Mal'Ganis banned, Garrosh taken, Diablo banned out as well, and they do exactly that, yes. So Johanna banned, gives you a bit of added wave clear, a bit more control heading into this. Still a plethora of tanks that you could aim for. I mean, you could even play around a Nubarak combo if you really wanted to. If you're going full in on any kind of blow-up attempt, then that's definitely a chance, and something along the lines of an Nubarak together with a Blaze could be an option for them. But of course, there's a lot of other options that they still have available too. Even Muradin, if you want to try and roam with Tyrande in the early game and try and get some kills. Tyrael Blaze works as well. Gives you Sanctification with good control over the objective. You have, with Blaze, a fantastic second option with the bunker on the Shrine. Good solo laner, of course, too. And a lot of stuns already. Could be a bit more, but some stuns at least, to follow up with Tyrande's Lunar Flare and try to get the damage in. In an ideal world, maybe even speccing into a Jaina there. Nah, not quite. Jaina taken away. So once Garrosh gets the flip, has quite a bit of burst damage here for Overpower. And Whitemane as the last pick. I'm actually liking the setup here. But that's going to be the choice here on the last one now for Epikkk. Orphea is still available. That's another hero that you could definitely use if you wanted to here. Now we have a few slows available too, so that's something you can capitalize on with a level 1 talent, get that extra damage set up for yourself. But let's see how exactly Epikkk is going to play this here. But so far, just in general, the lineup makes sense. And yep, there we have her. Orphea coming in, and that sets the stage for game number 1 between Epikkk SFD and Overpower here at HeroesLounge Division 1. Game 1 on Infernal Shrines, and we are off to the races. To the left, Epikkk, the leader in Division 1 currently, with Kupshi on Tyrael, Servas on Hanzo, Born on Orphea. We have Tali on Blaze and Manga on Tyrande. And over to the right side of the map, as Sastra on Whitemane for Overpower. We have Deathlife on Dehaka, Carabin on Jaina, Black Soul on Reyna, and Red Yoshi. Not to be confused with Green Yoshi on Garrosh. Also again highlighting here the Ancestral Strength, level 1 talent for Fear. We see that a lot recently, that extra damage on a stuns and rooted target. Super important here for the teams. So let's see who's going to take the lead in the series here. Reyna going into the Ace in the Hole as his level 1 talent. We've actually seen an interesting amount of Exterminator recently, at least in the games that we had a closer look at. And as the game goes on, Khaldor has left the game. I don't think so, because you know what? This Khaldor guy is still here. Yeah, but definitely casting this from replay right now, since there were a few issues in the live stream, as you can already see with the back and forth. So the lords of the internet were not really our friends in that particular encounter, so we're going to do that again for the series on YouTube in particular. Especially since a lot of the guys that have subscribed to the YouTube channel have been asking for more Heroes content as well, so we're going to try and oblige here. In this game now, up to the top, we have Tali going up against Deathlife on the solo lane, but down here it's actually already a bit of an aggressive setup where the red team is trying to see if they can find a few kills. Now, of course, if you have Tyrande and you are able to get a good setup with Garrosh, ideally, of course, after level 10 with Taunt, then you can press a lot of damage onto any target through Jaina. But at the same time, Orphea is pretty powerful and is something or someone that we actually have seen quite a lot in the past few games as well. Like, she can really pack a punch, and especially, of course, if you are able to create a little bit of space for her to work her damage in and her combos through, then she can be totally devastating. Cam taken, and immediately a little bit of a skirmish here happening as well. Orphea coming in with the Dread. And look at that, Servas actually interrupting Carabin as he was trying to make the rotation into the middle and putting a lot of damage onto Jaina. Also the damage dealer missing now as we're having a 4 versus 3 down here at the bottom. Nice stun, and immediately Yoshi in trouble and might actually fall here. Barely saved by Sastra, and Reyna moving in to block some of the damage too. But now, of course, an easy shot towards the mercenary camp. Absolutely no problems whatsoever for Epikkk to go straight for the Khazra camp here and try and take them, especially with Jaina still visible in the map. They know that they have the superior numbers down there. The first shrine is going to be an interesting one for sure. I mean, if you look over to the setup that Epikkk is running here, the combo with Tyrael and Blaze, one of the things that it really excels at is on-point fights where you can rely on bunker and sanctification to have added layers of defense that you can use one after another. You need to have decent coordination and communication to make sure that you don't overlap the cooldowns, but outside of that, you can really sustain a team for a long time through a fight, and this is what this is going to be used for. Then another big aspect for potential fights is going to be Hanzo, of course. Going straight into the redemption as his level 1 talent, leading with the explosive arrows. So really a huge focus onto Stormbow here too. But the idea is going to be to try and set something up after level 10 by him initiating with the arrow and then of course following up on that. Ideally with a stun through Tyrande. And I have to admit that so far, Tyrande actually doing pretty well. Manga always playing in the back here, not exposing himself to any pressure, and has already landed a fair amount of good stuns. So we're having Dehaka now starting to slowly make a rotation down to the bottom of the map. Actually, might get the drag, and nope, doesn't. Hanzo running straight into the dinosaur, but jumping away. Now, one of the little problems that we currently have for the red team for Overpower is that they still need to meet the rotation of Blaze, who's currently soaking bottom and mid lane. But the first shrine is active, and we are having them attack up there to the top right away. With currently Overpower taking a decent position on the shrine. Good heals too. But should probably try to anchor a little bit more with Garrosh over here to block for the rest of the team. Being put in a bit of a corner here, and the blue team is starting to take over the position. Epikkk forcing themselves onto the channel. And keep in mind, these guys are all the way up in the rankings of Division 1 right now, and for good reason, and they are definitely the favorite thus far in the series. Level 7 talents for them also a little bit quicker. Gives us now the Celestial Attunement for Tyrande, so going to be huge once that we're seeing these stuns coming in and the potential drag from Dehaka, who could of course global in to offset the balance a little bit in this team fight. But for the time being, it's a pretty even fight between the two of them. But here comes the Haka, as expected, that drag, and immediately Hanzo gets saved here. But we're having Garrosh in a huge amount of trouble. Tyrande 2 barely escaping here as Red Yoshi is on the run and gets out. Another drag attempt by Deathlife, but not able to get that through with his Dehaka. And everybody just escaping towards the fountain, making sure that just simply tap here. But of course, position now taken on the shrine itself by the blue team, as we're seeing Epikkk moving in to claim the first Punisher. The red team, though, overpowered, starting to push back, going aggressively onto Kupshi. Here's the throw and the kill as Tyrael goes down. First blood in the game. Gets a few more minions, but no damage against the heroes. And now the 5 versus 4 setup, of course, heavily turned in favor of Overpower as they're pushing their opponent back. Go for the shrine and seem to barely be able, yes, take it. First Punisher for them, barely able to clutch it, as we had already 36, 37 minions on the side of Epikkk, but now they have to deal with this first one. And it is, as you can see, it is a frozen Punisher, forcing them back already. Now, of course, this is also in the newest patch, so pretty important with the experience changes that came in, and also forts now giving 1 extra catapult every 3rd wave to the team that took the fort down. But we don't really have a huge lead in experience or anything just yet. Just a few towers going down at the front, not really a lot of pressure onto the fort. We're seeing still the rotation here at the bottom between the two solo laners trying to soak the experience, yeah? And everybody is starting to fall back onto lanes for the experience soak and see to get a few kills. It's a little bit of a slow early game. I mean, we have a lot of fights, but not really a lot of kills. We had nice retreats here from both sides whenever the shit was about to hit the fan. Now with level 7, we're also seeing, of course, intercession. So it's not only the celestial attunement on Tyrande, but also Whitemane heavily looking towards that. Dehaka down here in trouble. Good burrow by him. Stun comes through and barely survives. Turns around, tries and go for the drag. Does miss that. And is now starting to move to the top, actually. I think he could have gone back to base first and then tunnel in. Didn't do that, though. But now we have the pressure onto Garrosh again. And Tyrael comes in. Kupshi wants a kill. And Ophiaborn chomping away here and taking Jaina down. Another owl nearly hitting Garrosh. But outside of that single kill, not much more happening down here. But that kill immediately capitalized on. Overpower, forced back, and Epikkk saying, guys, we have an advantage down here, let's take that camp. Let's go in, invade that, and steal it away. It's exactly what they do. They have the earlier level 10 as well. That makes it extremely safe for them. Heroics, nothing that we didn't expect. We still see the Shadow Stalk. That maybe could have been changed into a Starfall given map and composition. Crushing Jaws now, but outside of it, no real surprises here. That being said, Heroic ability is now also ready for the opposing team, and there is the taunt on Garrosh's side, and we're having the Water Elemental for Jaina. Going a little bit North America here, not trusting in the Ring of Frost. And you always know, never go full NA, but a little bit can't really hurt, can it? Trying to steal the camp away, and that seems to be working fine so far. Ophia using that little bottleneck again to get more damage out. And maybe we can take a closer look at that too. Of course, we're going to have another one later, but Ophia currently sitting at 15k. And the problem that the red team has, as you can see, they are not really getting the damage through. Now again, they got a kill earlier, so it's most of the targeted damage that worked out for them. But if you look at the poke that is available for the opponent's team, that is pretty significant. I mean, it's already a bit of a story to tell if Blaze, for example, those 7,000 damage has more than Reyna on the other side. So there's only a little bit of ranged poke happening here. But again, as long as they convert that onto kills and get the single target damage in during a fight, that's all that Overpower really needs to do here. But it's not going to be easy. Second Shrine, about to be active. They're trying to go for the camp here first, though. And yep, get the damage in. Ophia with Drat again, trying to get something done, but the camp is taken away. Stun can't really do anything about that either. Jump, jump. Best talent name, by the way, ever. I'm really liking that. And now we're having the Arcane Punisher being fought over. And that's going to be a big one. Arcane Punisher, obviously, quite powerful. It's only the second one in the game, so it didn't really scale too hard, but it's always annoying going up against those Arcane Sentries. In Diablo 3, there were many the death of a hardcore hero because of them. And in Heroes of the Storm, we say pretty much the same thing. Arrow comes in, doesn't really get the proper follow-up, and here comes the bunker, not committing to ult on Tyrell just yet, but the first layer of defense is already gone now. We're having still some damage. Nice moves also from Overpower here, by the way. Good drag against Blaze, and he barely gets out. Blaze moving away, the fight still continuing, and here's the Jaws. Great stun follow-up from Tyrande. Well done, but still no kill confirmed. Black Soul is low, though, on his Reyna, and Garrosh is also struggling. Sanctification on the ground as the second attack comes in, and Epikkk tries to withstand the pressure. Now the heals coming through. Heroes falling back, tapping at the fountain again, but 35 to 33. Big lead here on the side of Epikkk. Garrosh is low, so is Jaina. Both of them in trouble, and here comes the Arcane Punisher. Arcane Punisher taken out by Epikkk, and the immediate retreat from Overpower. They fought valiantly, didn't even lose a hero, which I personally think is actually a great discipline from them, not YOLOing into anything here, but now they have to deal with this. They have to face the music in the mid lane, and this is where the fort is starting to fall slowly, and that is going to spawn the first catapults in the mid lane for Team Epikkk, as we are seeing the Punisher pushing even a little bit further, and with level 13 talents in their hands, Epikkk is actually saying, you know what, boys, let's go and see what we can actually do here. Trying to get a bit more damage in, and especially, of course, around the holy ground. You can now try and isolate some of the heroes if they're a bit badly positioned here. Wall goes down, damage on the keep too. Can't really take it down completely. Epikkk up at the top lane needs to be also cautious, since there's definitely going to be a rotation coming his way, and yep, gets hit by the owl to the face already. Great owl, by the way. Nice dodge, but here comes the holy ground, and that zones him out completely, and that gank is going to be tough. Isolation being hit as well, though, as Epikkk fights for his life, and an attempt with the bunker to block the space, but not quite successful. So at the end of the day, actually a big win here, if you ask me, for Overpower. There's quite a bit of resources that were just used by them. At least the trade in heroic abilities worked out, and of course there was a huge time commitment too, which allowed Overpower to move down to the bottom of the map and get another mercenary camp for themselves. Put that in too. Not getting the kill at the top lane was definitely a bit of a problem, a bit of a nuisance play here. But 13 now on both sides, and that gives us harsh discipline as well. So this is actually a really, really cool talent. A little bit reminiscent of the level 13 that we're seeing for Stukov too. But yeah, try to get more control during those fights. For Jaina on 13, the Ice Barrier. I'm using that here. And I'm pretty hyped for the next team fight, to be honest, because both of them are so close when it comes to experience. And with the fort gone in the mid lane, yes, there's a bit of an advantage for Epikkk, but at this point in time, it's small. There's a bit of a trap. Oh, and he gets hit completely. There's the taunt, and goodbye, Tyrael. Nice attack. Really nice trap that we just saw here from Overpower. Absolutely loving that. Nothing that Tyrael could really do. Only way to survive through that is probably if he would have used his Eldrunes before he checks the bush, he might have had a chance. But as it stands, there was just nothing. It was a perfectly well-timed taunt after the stun, and that's of course an easy camp now to be taken by Overpower as well. A great trap here by them. Really liking the way that they're setting these up. 2 kills against 1 in their favor. And now, of course, 16. It's going to be the next big step for both of the teams here. The Ninja Assassin on level 13 for Ophir. It's Determination. Now, again, sometimes we have them stacking into Dread instead, or into the Roots with the level 1 here, trying to get a little bit of synergy. Fright and Mind Devour coming in as level 4 and level 7. And to be honest, like the 1-7 for Ophir seems to be pretty much the standard that we've seen recently, at least when it comes to HeroesLounge. So definitely one of the comfort builds that we see on a lot of the players here. And we've been talking about damage output on her for quite a bit, so let's take another quick look. She's not quite on the same level as Hanzo, but then again, Hanzo has a lot more poke damage from a distance that comes through for him. But Ophir sitting with 30,000 still at a really good position. But it shows again that when we are taking a closer look at Overpower, their numbers are still extremely low. They have mostly on-point damage when they isolate a target, but their 2 damage dealers are playing it very safe in the backline, and so far haven't really been able to get a lot of poke out there, and it definitely shows. Another Punisher up for grabs. Epikkk still trying to make sure that he defeats the camp at the bottom before he moves in. They nearly took that fort earlier and would of course love to do that, but so far it's a 4 versus 5. Epikkk has to move in and will do so soon. And here we go. Tries to get the drag. And connects it. Great one, but gets still hit by the stun. And there's that immediate ult from Afia. Nearly kills against Red Yoshi and against Whitemane. So far, they're still surviving, but Whitemane finally falls. And now Garrosh is the second victim. All of a sudden, Epikkk just turning things around here with a great attack up to the top. They try to go in for Afia, and Born is just simply rushing away. He gets the extra armor. The dinosaur dies 2 and 3 for nothing in favor of Epikkk. Great moves by them, and a dominant position now on the shrine, making sure that they're going to get the next Punisher, and therefore very likely also the next fort, as the bottom is completely exposed. Great attack by them. Ophir now with Hanzo still taking another mercenary camp too, so they're going all out on this attack, trying to make sure that they get structural damage in. And once the fort falls, they will have catapults spawning in the middle, in the middle and the bottom. And this is going to be a bit rough. There was no proper setup on the side of Overpower. They were looking for the taunt, but they couldn't find it with Garrosh, and especially moving into the choke point over here proved to be a little bit of a problem, since Orphea did extremely well with the crushing jaws, and we had those follow-ups from Tyrael and Blaze too. Nearly a kill against Tyrande, which was actually really well executed from Dehaka, but then getting hit by the stun. It was actually ironic because it was the stun that Tyrande herself threw out just before she got dragged, so she more or less saved herself. But with a death or a kill against Tyrande, that fight could have ended up a little bit differently. The fort is down, the keep being attacked, and a nice arrow, the jaws with a kill! And there's Dehaka and Whitemane both down. Great setup here, good move by Hanzo in particular, and then the follow-up, fantastic. Epikkk just showing why they're doing so well in Division 1 of HeroesLounge lately. Good coordination between their abilities, really nice cooldowns used, and now they have the first keep destroyed, continuous catapults spawning through the bot lane. Great job here by them, really well played. In the meantime, there's at least a fort that is falling towards the top, so Overpower is getting a bit of control over the top lane. But they are definitely struggling, and there's another big push coming in through the middle, and let's face it, with 2 heroes down, this should be another keep. At this point, they still have also Tyrael Sanctification, so they can easily commit to that if they need to retreat, if they want to burst it down. The keep about to fall, yep, Orphea drops it, and that is now 2 keeps eliminated. So, great job from the blue team. The red team in the meantime just trying to recover a bit, but you look at experience and it's very, very obvious that that level 20 that we're seeing on the horizon for Epikkk is going to be a big game changer. Once you have those storm talents, it's going to be fantastic. And of course the defense is going to be here. Born on Ophea comes in together with Tali on Blaze, and they're going to take that wave and the camp down, and that also gives them the experience to head straight into level 20 for them. For Ophea, that means that we have the engulfing Oblivion immediately, so also a bit of a reduced armor, making those kills even more likely, especially the way they've been coordinating these attacks, with Tyrande's stun coming through nearly every single time to either set it up or capitalize on it. Here comes the arrow. Pfft. Jaina just getting wrecked. Get wrecked, son. And the same true for Garrosh as he falls too. 2 down. Nice. Using the holy ground here to make sure that we have another isolated target. The Jaws with a kill. And that is 3 down. 3 for nothing. 9 kills against 2 as Epikkk moves towards the core. Still can rely on the sanctification from Tyrael if they need to. But what a great game by them. Epikkk with a fantastic match here in game number 1 on Infernal Shrines, really pulling all the stops here to get that lead in the series. Doing extremely well. The catapults come in, and this is gonna be game. Another kill secured, and this is Epikkk taking the lead against Overpower here in Division 1 of HeroesLounge. GG and well played. Great effort by the blue team. Towers of Doom, game number 2. Epikkk SFD have taken a pretty convincing first game. Initially it actually looked a lot closer. I mean, Overpower won the first Punisher and did well with that, but I have to admit that afterwards Epikk's coordination in those fights were just way, way better. It was really well done by them. Now we're heading into Towers of Doom, where those XP changes also don't make a difference, and of course Catapult's also not going to be a concern for any team here. So maybe Overpower able to force map number 3 after this. Abathar and Maiev immediately banned again. So the heavy bans on Maiev not changing anytime soon. Abathar, of course, with that added value that he gets on the map through the strong global, is also taken out. And we're seeing Epikkk starting with a bit more of a focus onto the front line again, as they did in the previous one, outside of rotating now Abathar into their ban pattern. So we have Mal'Ganis taken out as an option. And now, of course, the question, how exactly is Overpower going to react here? They committed to a really early tank pick in the previous game. We had Diablo banned out as well, though, and they're getting rid of Genji now instead. So trying to reduce the mobility and the assassin plays a bit from Epikkk. But now with Diablo open and also Garrosh open, the first pick could be really interesting for Epikkk, and see how they are heading into that. Globals again another factor, and of course always Tyrande, and we see her again. So heading into the same healer that they ran in game number 1. And she did a lot of work. Tyrande definitely a lot of great stuns that led to kills as well. And now heading into the second game, let's see what we're opening up with for Overpower. Wouldn't really be shocked to see them start things up with at least one tank again, if that happens. And yep, Diablo this time in Reyna. In the previous game, Diablo was banned out, so they couldn't go for him, so we have them with a bit of a different engage pattern here. That leaves, of course, Garrosh still up for Epikkk. Now, I don't know the players on Epikkk well enough to realize, okay, do they have certain preferences, but I really like the way that they played with Tyrael and Blaze in the last game. Tyrael Blaze in general, if you look at 2018 and even previously, was doing really well as a combo because you have multiple layers of defense where you can add sanctification after a bunker and vice versa. So it really helps to keep teams alive throwing big fights. But now we have Garrosh, so always the option of getting a throw in and or a taunt even and 10 Tyrande stun. Dehaka for the global. And the ban on Orphea. And she has been playing a big role in most of the HeroesLounge games that we have just cast in the recent past. Deckard Cain banned out. So no Diablo, Deckard Cain setup that we can see here. I mean, potions in general around those fights are of course fantastic. If you ever hit the late game at level 20, Bottomless Flask is just a massive, massive problem if you're trying to gain control over an altar. And we have Jaina again. Alright, so Diablo has some follow-up. The burst damage is there. And Rhaegar this time as the heal. No white main for them. Getting Rhaegar into the game right now. There's a few more slows that Ace in the Hole can also capitalize on. Be a bit more aggressive with that. Okay, they're missing the offlaner. Could be Blaze with the setup that they're running here. I guess you could throw in a Thrall if you really wanted to. But Blaze definitely giving them some options. Still a chance maybe even to see a more aggressive stance going into a Zeratul. Not quite that play, I would say, but we've seen crazy stuff happen quite a bit. Greymane and Junkrat. Okay, so blow-up composition if you go into a Cursed Bullet here even. If you're playing Greymane after a Garrosh taunt or after a flip and then Tyrande stun, definitely the burst damage that you could use for that. Junkrat for additional wave clear and positioning. A lot of tools to outposition an opponent here. Displacement is just key when you're looking at this. Samuro! Okay, Towers of Doom, yeah. Samuro can definitely be played here. But he is also a character that scales heavily into the late game, so let's see how that's going to work out for them. The stage is set for the second game. Towers of Doom is the map, and let's find out if Epikkk gets the 2-0 victory or if Overpower can force game number 3. Game on, everybody! Game number 2, Kupshi on Garrosh for Epikkk, Manga on Tyrande. We have Servas on Junkrat, Born on Greymane, and Tali on Dehaka. Right side of the map, their opponent, Overpower, down in the series with Red Yoshi on the tank again. Diablo, we have Black Soul on Reyna, Sastre on Rhaegar, Kerubin on Jaina, and Death Life on Samuro. Samuro here with Way of Illusion as the level 1 talent. And Samuro can be a huge pain to deal with, to be dealt with. I mean, first of all, he is fantastic if you're just trying to snipe some structures, get access to a bell tower, for example. He's great. The pseudo global that he also has with his Illusion Master on level 10, and especially then with level 20, can be fantastic. And that's something that we are going to see in action if it ever comes to that late game. But Epikkk has done really well in the first game. Great coordination from them. Really good control of the map too, so that's definitely something to watch out here as we're seeing them head into that series with an attempt to make this another 2-0. They've been really successful in HeroesLounge Division 1 thus far, and this might just be another example. So in the early game, we are having up to the top lane here. Of course, the attempt to push Tali back and get a couple of stacks for the level 1 talent for the Way of Illusion here from Deathlife. Gonna see how that works out for him. A rotation with 4 man happening for the red team between the mid lane and the bot lane. So Born has to be a bit careful here. And that got immediately communicated as well as the red team starts to rotate in. With Yoshi on Diablo, you have an engage tool that is extremely powerful, and the follow-up through Jaina is strong. Okay, Kupshi creating a little bit of space here for themselves, and they are actually going for the camp. So far not even scouted. I actually thought for a second that the red team had vision of that for a moment, but apparently they didn't. So now instead they're trying to go into their own camp instead. But there's already Garrosh moving over, getting the flip into the wall. Okay, stuns coming out now, but so far no follow-up here. Still the one-on-one battle towards the top lane between Dehaka and Samuro. And we're having one mercenary camp stolen away. And that's of course now a pretty big pressure onto the bot lane. And as we know, on Towers of Doom in particular, bot lane is really where it's at usually. If you get control of the bottom bell tower of your opponent, then you have mercenaries moving in towards the core continuously whenever you cap them. So bot lane is very highly prioritized by most teams, and this is where most of the action happens in the game too. So we'll see if that pressure will accumulate to anything here. So far it looks that, especially with Jaina's wave clear, they're doing well enough to make sure that none of these mercenaries are getting too close to home. Good flip though against Diablo, and that's the end of him right there. Kupshi with a play. Even Junkrat now coming in. That's what I mentioned during the draft. If you are looking at Junkrat and Garrosh, you have a lot of displacement available to you. Another aspect was of course that Black Soul was in the middle already, trying to take those minions down, and I get the experience here. Going up against Greymane for now, up to the top, still the plays around Deathlife, trying to hold his own against Tali and get the stacks for his quest. That being said, with the triple altar phase now being announced, this is the moment when we're gonna at least need one altar to be taken by the red team. For them, the late game is going to be pretty great. Depending a lot, of course, on the Samuro player. Like, if you can integrate with Samuro, we've seen, for example, Granite Gaming in HGC in the last season do really well with Samuro for a long time. The big advantage now having Dehaka is that you can use the global, exchange and bell towers up to the top, but now Dehaka can burrow down to the bottom, and you have to be very careful here. Yoshi is already extremely low. Dehaka coming in and trying to move out, might actually be able to escape, but no, the stun of Tyrande is a bit too much for him to deal with. Finally Samuro arrives, but he's late to the party, and that's the second altar handed over to Epikkk. So they're taking the lead. Not really coming too much as a shock. The early game for them is still pretty solid with the setup that they have here. Question still is, how is that mid game and late game going to run? How much of an impact will Samuro have in that setup? You can see that Kupshi and Junkrat are always trying to get a kill. Trying to push Reyna, Jaina out of position somehow and allow, especially of course, Junkrat to capitalize on it with a bit of bursty damage. So far that hasn't really happened too much. We've seen 2 kills against 0 and we have the lead in experience, but it's still a minor one. Nothing too crazy. And by now, there is a bit of a push happening to the top, so it looks like we might even see... No, Tali is there in time for most of the experience. Don't lose too much. But level 7 talents are now in play. And with that, we're having also the Quicksilver bullets taken. It's not going in any kind of greedy damage aspect. We're having Cleanse now in Rega. That's going to be really important. A good attempt here to go straight onto Garrosh, but he's able to walk out of it. Has the Indomitable, uses that right away. We're also seeing at the same time, of course, Tyrande with the Celestial Attunement as the level 7 choice, so she can help with that too. At the top lane, still some experience soaked. There's a lot of rotations happening between top and middle, especially when we're looking towards Samuro. So he's going to try and use that. Pressure play down here at the bottom though, and Dehaka is moving in with that too. Alright, everybody moving out, so another big invade at the mercenary camp, and without Samuro, Overpower is understandably reluctant to fight that. They're not too far behind just yet, but they definitely need to be a bit concerned. Level 10s are going to change a lot here. But again, the stuns, the flip, and Diablo is the punching bag right now. The cleanse comes through, but there's little they can do, and he falls, goes down here. He's always the one getting the beating at the front line, and whenever one stun hits, be it from Garrosh himself, be it from Tyrande. There's the immediate flip, and then he's so isolated that there's no way to save him. Once Ancestral Healing is in play, that's going to change, but for the time being, it's just really, really tricky for the frontliner to have any kind of impact in this. Then again, he is currently in a spot where he didn't have the soul stacks just yet either. But talking about stacks, Samuro only halfway done with his quest. Garrosh has nearly completed his. We had, of course, now 2 altars channeled through by the blue team, which doesn't really help the cause for Overpower. They're down to 24 points on their core right now. But we're having them closing in on level 10 as well. The heroic abilities are ready for the blue team, but once that Overpower at least have it for Samuro, that might change things a little bit. There's a lot of pressure on Deathlife, though. I mean, right now, he is the one that a lot of the responsibility hinges on, I feel, to make the global plays then in the later stages of the game, if he gets that chance with Illusion Master to set up these plays. They're already trying to go straight for Dehaka here. The Drag connects with an Illusion, gets a few stacks in. Kerubin, I think, was outside the vision range for most of that when he snuck in. I don't think the wave was actually close enough just yet. So we're seeing them trying to focus on the top mercenaries. And I actually like that play a bit, because down here, the 4-man that we're seeing for the blue team is incredibly strong. And with that 4-man, they're just making sure that they get all the mercenaries against. That rotation to the top from Jaina was a good choice. Here's the level 4s now, Water Elemental. We have no Apocalypse, instead it's the Lightning Breath. And we're also now seeing Ancestral Healing. That's going to be a bit easier, or make it easier for Diablo to survive here whenever he gets isolated. I mean, ideally, he would save it for a team fight. But if that situation occurs, he can play around that. And now, of course, with Illusion Master, the question, what can Samuro do here? Altar is up. And you kind of have to take that fight. Dehaka at the top lane is getting one more wave, and then he's going to burrow in, very likely. But already position about to be taken here. 5 versus 5 in just a second. Already Dehaka about to come in, pinged, and immediately attacked. Isolation is hitting Diablo, but Dehaka is also in trouble. Has to pop the Essence right away. Is low. Here comes the Riptire and the damage trying to go for Diablo. The taunt comes through. The stuns from Tyrande in as well. And Ancestral Healing has been utilized, but Diablo still low. Good sustain though. Gets his own hit points back through the fire stomp, but goes down eventually. Once again, the throw from Kopshi making it happen, and that is going to be another altar for them. Samuro is immediately rotating into the middle, but they are down to 20 points on the core, 36 to 20. We're having Samuro trying to rotate around. If they can win a team fight toward the later stage of the game and start gaining some map control by dropping a bell tower or two, they definitely have a chance of coming back into this. But at this point in time, it just feels that Epikkk is outclassing them slightly. There's always that danger of getting flipped by Garrosh. The stuns are hitting. Manja is getting his stuns in very reliably here. And the follow-up, of course, as well. And with this, they are getting the bell tower now at the bottom. The continuous mercenary pressure at the bot lane and them stealing the camp away from their opponent has just allowed them to take that easily. And this is, of course, a position where they not only have elite in experience, they are taking the talent advantage too. Things are rough, not gonna lie. Epikkk is looking strong, and as we said before, they are all the way up at the top of Division 1 of HeroesLounge. And you can definitely tell why. They are doing really well here. Again, the rotation of Kerubin. Jaina is moving to the top, trying to see if they can maybe get a kill against Dehaka. It's not the case right now, just the experience soak. Getting the quest completion at least for now, of course, if you can get those, it's also great, but down to the bottom of the map. As we said, it is the important lane. We're still seeing the bell tower just defend it. There's like nothing really that they can do right now. And with that, it's also 5 shots against 3 in that potential setup. And we're having the altars about to spawn again, 2 at the time actually this time. Still enough experience, there should be enough experience available to get level 13 talents. It's only a second, but you can get some here. You can try and push out the middle, and that should give you enough if you can stall that. Talking stalling, we have an exchange. Epikkk is absolutely happy to go for that exchange. 5 shots against 3, that's a trade in their favor. Why not take it? 13 talents are finally there. Gives also, with the giddy up, a bit of an advantage maybe with the positioning in the next fight for them. Even more mercenaries are coming in now. But we also have the Earth Shield, and that might just be what Sastre needs to keep his front line alive. We're going to see how that works, but it's 15 points on the core against 33 right now. So definitely a dire situation to be in. But with the level 13 talent, the Mirrored Steel is now in there as well. So Mirror Image, definitely the heavy focus with the level 1 and the level 13 synergy right now for Samuro. And he needs to be all over the place now. And so far, he hasn't really had the impact he's hoping for. I mean, again, he's up against the Dehaka, right? So we have some globals. It's not like they can completely outplay it. Another big problem is that what do you expect from a player that rides the money pick? It's only the bronze pick and not the pink one, but it gives you that extra, it just gives you the confidence that you need when you ride into battle, you know, and it's something you can tell whenever Kupshi is starting to move in. And again, they're thinking about it here, but actually giving at least this camp up. Waiting for the level 16 seems to be a little bit more what they're trying to do here right now. But again, it's something that you should never underestimate. The confidence that comes from riding the money pick can be the difference between having the balls to go for an engagement or just yielding and saying like, not today. It's important. Triple altar, and guys, I'm not quite sure how to tell you that, but this could be the end of the game. If they get all three, that might be it. Now, it's a little bit unlikely. The position to the top right is heavily defended, but there's definitely a chance of it happening. The problem is taking one really all that you can do here? They're trying to interrupt the second. Owl interrupts Jaina once. Okay, there's the fight. They need a kill. They don't have a single kill just yet. Breath of Lightning is used once more, but doesn't really have a huge impact. It's a trade 1-for-1, and now we have one final altar on the map that they're trying to fight for. 16 talents on the other side are nearly there for Epikkk, and they're going to try and use that. But look at Garrosh. Is he finally going to fall? Kupshi dies. He's down. Can they get more? Ancestral doesn't come in enough. We have Greymane just dropping the target here. He himself falls to a 2-for-1 trade. But we have the triple coming in. Can't use the Ancestral here just yet. Jaina down as well. A 3-for-3 on the map. The 16 talents are there. And Epikkk Manga is trying to now get another 5 shots fired. And he gets the channel through. The shots go down, and that is single digits on the core for Overpower. At this point, we have them far, far behind their opponent. 5 against 30, and Epikkk just doing way too well here. On level 16, with the Executioner, the Elongated Tongue for Dehaka. We're having also now Earthshaker for Garrosh, and things are just looking really, really good for them. The talent advantage, the advantage in position on the map, still holding on to that bottom bell tower here for just a few more seconds, as we have that commitment now from Overpower to regain access to the structure. Trying to buy themselves a little bit more time in the long run here. Yoshi needs to be careful, but again, trying to see if he can maybe get some damage onto Tyrande here. They were trying to look for the kill. Kupshi is actually far out and gets slowed by the water element, and Kupshi is in trouble, and he's down. Not even the money pick can save him. With Kupshi down, we all of a sudden have a little bit of momentum going for the red team, and we've seen crazy comebacks on this map. Is that going to be one of them? We're going to find out soon. I mean, there's the Earth Grasp Totem at this point. They're trying to take the Mercenary Camp away, but as the tank is gone on the blue side, maybe a chance to make a few plays here. Samuro with a rotation top side, since Tali has never really joined the battle. Dehaka has been stuck towards the top. But now there's an altar spawning in 20 seconds, and it seems that the red team is completely happy simply going for the Mercenaries here. Now, personally, I would have really liked them to try and see if they can maybe take a few structures down as well. But I mean, at least they're getting something on that map now, with the advantage that they have. Experience also not really so far ahead for the blue team, considering how many kills they have. And Garrosh is back to business. The altar is about to spawn, and this one is going to be important. Again, it's not just checkmate yet if you get it from the perspective of Epikkk, but still, if they get this one, this is still going to be a huge win and will put down, or would put down, Overpower to one single point on the core. Means you can end through boss or even through a simple mercenary camp later on in the game. Alright, Samuro looking for the engage here. Diablo getting poked down by Junkrat. Junkrat poke is huge at this point. Good engage against Dehaka. Dehaka actually taking quite the beating here. Water Elemental on the ground as we're seeing Riptire come through into Jaina towards the backline. Not doing as much damage as we're hoping. Throwing Greymane at the front. The Ice Block is in. Kupshi nearly dying. Tali goes down. Good kill. Dehaka dead. And that's the play right there. Carobin still low. Ancestral hasn't been used just yet. And is not going to throw it out just nilly-willy, but looking straight for the engage. Carobin has to be careful. Greymane already looking for the engage, looking for the angle to move in here. And at some point, Rega is going to have to commit to it here. They got the shots though. They got the shots, they got the altar. And now the fountain's still up for all of them, so they're golden. Not using Ancestral at all. Rhaegar, I mean, yeah, he is... I mean, that guy has the balls of steel, if you ask me. He's been holding that for a long time. It looked like Jaina would have died in a second, and Diablo didn't look too healthy either, but he held back that Ancestral the entire time. Good for him, but definitely a bit risky. And then again, they have to take a few risks, right? Okay. Khaldor trying to sneak in here, needs to be careful. I mean, they still are far ahead, but we have seen crazy comebacks on this map. So we're going to see how exactly this is going to play out for Overpower, if they're actually going to make this happen. Because let's face it, we're looking closer to level 20 right now, and as we said before, Death Life on his Samuro can do quite a bit. We're currently looking at Merciless Strike on level 16 for him. Damage output, if you want to have a quick glance here. Reyna is really bringing the pain. Not quite comparable to what we're seeing from Junkrat. That continuous poke with those grenades is just doing wonders, but it's still doing some work. And here might be the fight at the bot lane. They can't fight here. If the Haka burrows in, they just go down in flames. They don't have Samuro. He doesn't have a copy down that they can jump to. And I really have to say that Samuro, Deathlife just doesn't really have that global map presence that we see top-notch Samuro players have with that. If you have a couple of copies around and you can join these fights and still have illusions on the other lanes, you might be able to do a little bit more. But so far, he's been doing work and he's definitely holding his own on the lane. But outside of that, he needs to be cautious. Okay, starts moving in, gets a couple of hits in. But they're not engaging in the battle just yet. There's the altar, fighting for one. Diablo in trouble. Ancestral just barely coming through. And they try to go for the kill. And Born goes down. Greymane is gone. The lightning breath, the double kill. Tyrande falls. And they are no way. They actually make it happen. They go for the triple kill. All of a sudden, Overpower is looking at a dominant position in the game. They get the heroic abilities first. They already channeled the altar through. 22 against 5 points on the core. And they're not stopping here. They go for Khaldor. Get wrecked, son. Down he goes. They get him as well, and they're already working onto the bell tower. Samuro rotating into the mid lane immediately. Can try and push out the lanes now too. Could even go for a boss here at this point in time. They take the bell tower towards the bottom, and all of a sudden they have all the momentum in the world. Can go from bell tower, lane to lane. They still have 20 seconds. That's an easy grab here in the middle if they really want it. They need one minion wave to move in. They have a few already on the way, and this should be another bell tower. Then again, Junkrat is poking, and he is poking a lot. The water elemental is soaking the shots here, but it looks like they're going to be able to drop this. Yoshi trying to get Junkrat, doesn't quite complete the kill here, but they are now going for another bell tower. 6 against 2, and guess what? Deathlife is just going from camp to camp. Creep camp after Mer camp, goes straight in, and they are focusing onto the top right now. This could still be it. This game isn't quite over just yet. Double altar on the map, control of the bot lane, Deathlife trying to hold on to it. If they can defend this one, this would be the massive play. If they can defend this, this would be great, but they're not really willing to commit to it yet. Trying to go for the flank, not quite sure I like that. So at least one bell tower converted. That gives some access to Epikkk. But this is still going to be a bit of a crucial game. Rhaegar with the channel already. They're going to get the middle. Absolutely. They're going to get the middle for sure. And now it's the fight at the bot lane here. Rhaegar channels. That's 5 shots fired. 17 against 5 points on the core. Diablo. The taunt. The taunt! The kill! The kill comes in. And they try to go for the counter against the Haka. Here comes the isolation. But the isolation only hitting an illusion, nothing else. But still, with Diablo now on the way back slowly, can they really try and go for this? It feels unlikely. If the channel comes through, that's a problem. There's a kill attempt, and they get Samuro. Samuro is down, and so is Jaina. They get 2 kills, and they immediately start throwing the Haka forward. The drag connects again. That's the end of Jimmy. Jimmy is down, and now the chance to go for the channel. They do it, and now the play for boss. Boom! 2 points on the core. 2 points. The Haka already with the burrow. They want to go for it. And of course, Overpower. They know what's coming. They definitely know what's coming. They have to go. They can't sit tight. They need to go. And they are still buying time. Sastra down here. He's not rotating. It's a 4-5 versus 2. You can't win it anyways, I suppose. But this is it. Nice move by Overpower in the mid game. But then Epikkk a bit too strong. And they take the victory. And the 2-0 against Overpower here at HeroesLaunge.gg.